I think it is clear to believe in the power of ideas.
Fresh thinking to the Manhattan Institute.
Fly. What makes a deal actually be in the public interest and be understood to be in the public interest? And we have a panel in which we're going to explore this from the point of view of a scholar who's been looking at this for a very long time, the dean of public finance business journalists, somebody on the front lines in the investment community, and finally, a skeptic. So we'll have dueling Harvardians here, and that will be our panel. I'd like to begin with somebody who has been thinking about this privatization decision for decades. E.S. Steve Savis is the presidential professor at Brooke College here in New York, and his areas of expertise include public management, strategic planning, privatization and public-private partnerships, service delivery, and performance measurement. He's the author of the 2000 book, Privatization and Public-Private Partnerships, which he tells me has been translated into 21 different foreign languages. And he tells me that he first started chewing on this question quite a long time ago, but I'll let Steve begin by telling that story. Steve Savis.
Thank you. Yes, it was as a city official in New York in 1969 that I first started thinking about, talking about, and writing about, and then studying privatization. It was a very heretical notion, front-page stories in the newspapers and so on. And so I figured, well, it is heretical, so maybe it'll take 2, 3, 5 years before the ideas catch on. Here, 40 years later, we're still trying to figure out what it is, how to do it, when to use it, when not to do it, and so on. As we've heard, yes, P3, PPP, public-private partnerships, are widely used throughout the world. The United States is lagging in this respect, however, and one indication of that is that whereas there are many large global organizations in this field, the largest American organization ranks 22nd in activity in these public-private partnerships. I want to focus on United States roads. And first, I'll talk about greenfield projects, then about brownfield projects. Greenfield projects are brand new projects. They don't exist yet. These are somewhat easier to work with. Brownfield propose a different set of problems. Why P3? Why private capital? Well, there is a shortage of public funds, yes, and you can look at it many different ways, but by and large, there are serious budget shortfalls in virtually all state and city governments. There are bonding limitations as to how much money can be borrowed, and there's a lot of voter resistance to bonding proposals. And by contrast to this apparent shortage of public funds, there seem to be substantial amounts of private capital around. There are private infrastructure funds, which as of a week ago anyway, were about more than $300 billion was available in these private infrastructure funds. Pension funds have been investing in them, and perhaps sovereign wealth funds will be getting into that as well. But what are the benefits of P3 for infrastructure projects? One, there's a general perception and the reality that many publicly financed public works projects are wasteful in various ways. They are funded according to a political formula rather than to economic viability, leading to pork barrel projects of various kinds. My favorite is the occasional 4-lane highway leading to a 2-lane bridge. And the point is, why is the bridge so narrow? No, the problem is that the highway is too wide. That is, public money was used to build a wide highway in rural areas, essentially as a means of buying votes, and it was not required. And yet now the drumbeat is for widening the bridge to nowhere instead of narrowing the highway. So that's one kind of problem that exists. The toll-based projects are privately financed. That gives confidence that the project is financially viable. it will have a return on investment, it does make economic sense, rather than being essentially a vote-generating scheme. There's another clue about project viability. If a private firm insists on a play or pay provision in the contract, that should give one warning. Here's what I mean by the pay or play means that